G'day, mate. How you doing? Oh, yeah, I had way too much dairy. Way too much dairy on the weekend. And I've been constipated ever since. And I finally went to the toilet, but it was not good. It was constipation poo and, I'm just big, angry red hemorrhoids, basically. Too much information, mate. You just say, good, thanks. And you? That's it. Wait, you asked me a question. I just gave you the answer. Is this a prank? Am I being pranked by myself? A what? Because seriously, if I'm pranking myself, I'm going to be really upset with myself.
Validation and support for autistic people and their loved ones.
Welcome, my friend. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. I'm all about providing validation and support for autistic people and their loved ones. As a loved one of an autistic person, you may feel you struggle to the point of hopelessness, trying to simply understand and connect with the autistic person in your life. But it really doesn't have to be that way. I've actually written a book called Autism Feels, An Earthling's Guide, just to help you better understand the autistic person in your life. Please keep in mind that every autistic person is different. These Autism Feels examples are based on my own lived experiences as an autistic guy. So let's get started with one that really does present many problems in my day-to-day life. And that is, autism feels like any form of light touch is torture. That can include even my own. In fact, I hate my own light touch. What do you mean, Orion? It's you. If I'm laying in bed, yeah, and my foot accidentally touches my leg, the skin of my leg, if my pants or whatever, I haven't got socks or whatever, and there's some skin, and my feet touch my leg skin, it's horrible. It feels, and it's yuck. What are you doing? That's just me, I'm telling myself. And you might think, okay, cool, I have an autistic person, they hate deep pressure and love light. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's different. From my point of view, autism feels like light touch of any kind is absolute torture. Now, the issue with this is because we have loved ones who may not be autistic. I have kids. I have a wife. Sometimes that is how they show they love you. And the issue for me is a lot of times, even if my little 4-year-old or whatever lightly touched me, right, on my arm or my hand or whatever, a lot of times it's like I was being attacked. And it's a disproportionate response, I get it. The answer is just push through, mask, suppress, just allow it. Now, I try that sometimes, and it's actually impossible. There's something about the way the sensitivity I have with light touch of clothing on me, light touch of other people, myself, light touch of anything, slightly touching things going by. I'm just yuck. Autism feels like oversharing is small talk. Let me explain. In my experience, autism can feel a lot like an autistic person overshares as a way of either, one, small talk, or in my opinion, probably more specifically, as a way of avoiding small talk. See, as autistic people, we struggle, and I'm talking about at a diagnosable level of struggle, a significant struggle, with social communication, with interaction, with the forms of communication required to be relatively good at, to partake in this thing called small talk, which we still haven't got to the bottom of, by the way. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm not sure of the point of it. Nevertheless, if you're having a conversation with an autistic person, trust me, my friend, if it's a bit of small talk, chit chat here and there, and they start to just go off on some sort of really in-depth, too much information type of dialogue, they're basically just trying to fit in and avoid failing at this thing you call small talk. And who doesn't want to know every last detail of everything the autistic person in your life has ever experienced, felt, gone through? Ever. I don't. Autism feels like punctuality, so being on time, is of life or death importance. In my autistic mind, punctuality is as important as living and dying. And don't you hate when people make you wait? Don't you hate when people set a time, and a late. And then you go to the autistic paradox. Hang on, fair enough, Orion. I can relate to that. I have an autistic person in my life and they hate waiting. They hate people making them wait, being late, blah, blah, blah. But they always struggle to maintain executive function and time management. And they're always bloody late, or they're always in a rush. That's an autistic paradox. I bring that up because I'm not providing you with an answer. I'm saying, yes, there are autistic paradoxes, right? Like I always talk about. I hate people eating, chewing, drinking, slurping. But my son or myself may be the loudest eaters and drinkers. But that doesn't matter. We don't hear that. We're doing that. That's part of our action. It's other people. It's a similar situation with this. Why you would tell me, hey, Orion, let's meet up. Oh yeah, cool. What time? Bang, 12 o'clock. Great. Let's meet up at 12 o'clock. I'm there at, 10 to, quarter to, whatever. And you're still not there at 5 past. So that's you might go, hang on, what's the time frame before you can call someone? Good question. I say the time frame before you can call someone is 60 seconds. If they're 60 seconds late, you can call them and go, where are you? Now, I've been told that that's not really appropriate. It should be more like potentially over 10 minutes. 10 minutes? 10 minutes is enough for me to get in the car and go home. So, let's say 5 minutes. Oh, yeah, no, I'm away, no worries. Another 25 minutes max. What do you mean 25 minutes max? That's like half an hour later than we agreed to. And in my mind, it's like life or death importance. This is the time you're going to be here. This is the time I'm going to be here. This is what's going to happen. Don't let me down. Unfortunately, if you do, I'm going to have to kill you. Autism feels like my sarcasm is taken seriously every time. In other words, no matter what, when I'm trying to be sarcastic or just joke, people take it the wrong way, or misunderstand it, or misinterpret it. Think I'm being serious. Autism basically feels like I'm constantly telling people I was just joking. That's just a joke. I'm just being sarcastic, right? And a lot of times people will say, if they know me, they don't know when it's happening, but they know me enough to know to ask, are you being sarcastic? Is that sarcasm? Is that just, are you joking? Right, at least we've got to that point. But basically, no matter what you do as an autistic person, because look, it could be down to many things. The first thing for me is I have a pretty dry sense of humor, a pretty deadpan, dry, sarcastic sense of humor. So as a rule, it is hard sometimes to work out if I'm joking or not. But see, that's part of the fun for me. That's part of the personality of me that I love. But as an autistic person, it can get very frustrating because put that aside, the sense of humor, we can have deadpan faces. We can have what appear to be emotionless faces where we feel emotions. We just struggle to identify them and convey them externally through words or facial expressions or body language. So regardless of what we're saying or doing, it can come across seriously. It's also not my problem, by the way, if people are too stupid to understand my jokes. That's rude. That's rude. Are you being sarcastic? But this next feeling may be one of the more detrimental experiences for an autistic person. And that is that autism feels like your mind never stops catastrophizing. So when I talk about like catastrophizing, I mean the idea that your mind is constantly coming up with the worst case scenarios of every single thought. So your mind catastrophizes. You're thinking about things, but you're only thinking about how horrifically bad they were or are going to be. Now, this is a really detrimental, it's a detrimental experience to anyone, but this is really detrimental to the mental health of an autistic person. People who are already feeling like they're not enough, who already are riddled with anxiety, low self-esteem, self-loathing, self-hate maybe. Catastrophizing every situation means that your mind is only ever focusing on everything in your past and how it went bad, how everyone hates you and they don't get you and they don't like you and it's gone bad, and how everything in the future will also go bad. But catastrophizing is one step worse than that. It's not just about it going bad, it's about finding new levels of badness. We're so good at making things seem bad, we add layers. We add catastrophe layers. I'm here to pick up my birthday cake. Oh yeah, what'd you get? I got a layered catastrophe cake. And to be really clear for the loved ones watching, for an autistic person, there is no thought too small, no thing, no experience, nothing going through the autistic mind too small to not catastrophize. The autistic mind catastrophizes everything. Well, at least that's what autism feels like. Autism feels like All forms of communication and interactions are exams. And worse still, you don't know the answers. Have you ever had that nightmare? It might have been you in school or you in university or at work, whatever, where in real life you have an upcoming test or exam or assessment or whatever, pop quiz, whatever it is. And in the dream, even though this is really coming up in real life the next day, say, in the dream the night before, you're in it, but you haven't studied. Or you've studied, but you've forgotten everything, right? It's that nightmare that most people have, where in effect, you fail an exam. You know you're being assessed in real life, and the night before, you fail it. And it's that dread. If you can harness that feeling of having those dreams as a neurotypical person, for example, of being in an exam and not studying or not knowing the answers and failing miserably, right, in this nightmare, that is the feeling autistic people face, in my opinion, daily, going into communications and interactions with other people. It's not even that we don't know the right answers to this exam. It's more than that. It's that we weren't even given access to the content to learn it or study it. You've kept it to yourself. And that's why I know it's hard to kind of explain, but from my point of view, that's really how it feels, that nightmare feeling. Going into communications and interactions. It really is that feeling like you're in an exam and you haven't studied, or you've studied, but you don't know any of the answers. And your whole body just starts to die on the inside. That's how it feels. And I should know, I studied law and almost completed it. Autism feels like you become frozen or rendered unable to continue doing something you were doing when someone else starts watching. Creepy. But potentially worse than that, autism feels like you do become frozen or unable to continue when someone is even in the vicinity of you. So you're doing something, you want to do it, you're currently doing it, and it's not even that someone is watching you do it now. Hey, what are you up to? They just happen to be in the same room, or for me sometimes, in the house. The idea that could record content and people anywhere in the house could walk around and potentially hear my voice, hear me talking to you right now, I'm not sure I can continue if that was the case. I don't get why you find this confusing, because I'm just telling you that's how autism feels. It feels like I'm doing something, I love doing it, I'm sweet, I'm good at it, but if you want to watch me do it or you're going to be around the general vicinity, I feel completely frozen, unable to continue. That's the best I can explain that feeling of autism. But why, Orion? Why? What do you mean, people watching you or being in your vicinity? What are you talking about? That sounds a bit weird. It's like, thank you, fantastic. Good feedback. There's something about this. And some people can go, the idea that you want to do things in secret, right? So no one watching, no one around, people automatically label it badly. Oh, that means you want to do things in secret or private, or they might go, so you've got something to hide. They start referring to you as like a snake in the grass or something. See, this isn't a thing, but as an autistic person, you're right. The majority of the things I want to do in life, I want to do by myself privately. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's because that's when I actually feel at peace and regulated and free. It doesn't matter if it's a stranger or a loved one. Just the implied pressure or that implied feeling of someone in your space while you're doing something you want to do, you automatically feel judgment, because we're born into being judged and rejected for being different. So it doesn't matter if it's your friend, your family, or a stranger. There's this like implied judgment when people are in our vicinity when we're doing something. So you know what? Just go away. That'd be my advice. I mean, come back at some point. Yeah, But this particular feeling, I reckon, could be one of the greatest triggers to autistic burnout, because it is in effect infinitely tiring. Tiring to the extent that it's almost like you can't ever avoid it. And that is that autism feels like every single interaction is misinterpreted or misunderstood. You wake up, regardless of the size or the importance of the interaction, until you go to bed, all that ever happens is it's misinterpreted. It's misunderstood. The wavelength isn't on the same length wave. You get what I'm saying? There's a disconnect, whatever, grow up. But it's worse than that. It's worse than that. So sure, autism feels like every interaction is misunderstood, misinterpreted. But here's the kicker. On top of that, it also feels like every misunderstanding or misinterpretation is my fault, is the autistic person's fault. So not only does it feel like being autistic means every time you interact with someone, they misunderstand or misinterpret your intentions or your feelings or your whatever you said, but it's also your fault that that happened. It's my fault that what I said was misinterpreted, was misunderstood. Therefore, I have to feel bad about it. I have to apologize and I have to fix it. Now, I'm not saying it's one person's responsibility in an interaction. No, because that's like the two to tango kind of thing. I get that. But you see what I mean with the point of view that if you are constantly feeling like you as a neurotypical person are misinterpreting or misunderstanding the intentions or the words of an autistic person in your life, do you think potentially that's a sign that maybe you should start a little bit harder to try and understand, to try and properly interpret what they're saying, rather than simply constantly going, what do you mean? That's rude, or are you trying to upset me, or what? Autism, in my opinion, feels like every day is a marathon. Actually, strike that, Your Honor. Autism feels like every day is an ultra marathon. You've heard me talk about this a lot. I just feel tired. I feel worn down and tired by life. Living life as an autistic person, this isn't a boo-hoo, woo me, because I'm not just whinging to someone on the street. I'm providing this for you to watch and hopefully learn. Life is tiring. Life wears you down as an autistic person. Why? Because it's hard. Why? Because you don't have all the rules and all the information and all the skills and abilities that neurotypical people have. And we'll just learn it, Orion. Yeah, you can learn that kind of stuff, but that doesn't mean you can put it into practice. Do you know what I mean? Like you can read stuff and learn it, but when you're in the heat of the moment of living your life as an autistic person, it's not like your autistic brain goes, oh, I forget, I've got to switch over to the neurotypical brain now. It doesn't work like that. Life is tiring. Life feels like every day's a marathon. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know how many more marathons I have in me. And how can we make this better for you, Orion? How can we make this better for autistic people? I don't know. Can you imagine if every single day, from the minute you woke up to the minute you went to bed, number one, you had to mask, suppress your true feelings, instincts, your true self, pretend to be accepted, liked, or just to make people feel comfortable and accept you around them, but then still fail, to be oversensitized by every single stimuli or whatever you want to call it in the environment, to struggle to understand, read body language, have conversations, be misunderstood, misinterpreted, people take you the wrong way, people not know when you're joking, to fail at basic human things, and that's not a marathon. It's draining as hell. It doesn't even need to be big things. For me, I'll talk on my behalf. Even the idea of getting up in the morning and doing the things you gotta do, like showering, or having a shave, eating, basic hygiene stuff. This is hard for me. This is like part of the marathon. The idea of, I've got to have a shower. And then you think, your brain thinks, this is really annoying, right? Like, so for starters, you've got to get the shower going. You put your towel down, blah, blah, blah. You get in there. You got to get wet. You got to get soaped. You got to clean yourself. Then you got to get out, and it takes ages. You got to dry yourself off. I hate that. Dry yourself off. Then you got to get clothes on. You got to put new clothes on. It's like, that wasn't so much, Orion, but it was. The experience was. I've got to eat and drink now. You know what I'm saying? It's like anything. Getting dressed. For goodness sakes. Does this match with this? Like you might say autistic people have weird fashion choices or whatever. You should wear what you're comfortable in, man. Whatever makes you feel good. And by the way, if you're a woman and you're angry because I just said man, that's not a gender thing. When I say, like I think a lot of people say, you know what I'm saying, man, and they mean that to everyone. By the way, it's in the word woman. So that's the end of that conversation. But I'm always offending people. See, this is another example of autism feels. No, what I say, someone's got something bad to say. What I'm saying is wrong. You can't say, hey man, anymore. What do you mean? It's in both words. I'm just trying to say, and I feel this is a good example. I'm recording this in the morning, and already I feel like I'm well and truly into the marathon to the point where I'm looking for the drinks station. Hey, where's the drinks station? Is it coming up soon? Another 10 kilometers, I'll die before I get there. Autism feels like it is impossible to accept sudden change of any kind, regardless, by the way, of the situation. And this can be as arbitrary as you wish it to be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be important. Sudden changes to foods you eat, foods you're served, particular brands or foods you buy at shops, disappearing, not being cooked, menus changing. Impossible for an autistic person to navigate that. Now, I'm not saying we can't work through it. What I'm saying is, in those experiences, autism feels like it will be impossible to work through this. Autism feels like my brand is off the shelf and my partner has cooked something that's not usually on the menu. It will be impossible for me to work my way through this. Clothing is a big one. Just the idea of waking up and not being able to wear particular socks, underwear, shirts, whatever, any type of clothing that you were expecting to wear or needed to wear on that particular day. Again, it feels like it's impossible to get dressed now. It's impossible to deal with that sudden change. This could be TV shows. This doesn't have to be big stuff. And I think it's better for me to do small things just to highlight it. What do you mean that TV show is no longer available to stream on Netflix? What do you mean? That's not fair. I've only watched it from start to finish 17 times. I was going to do it 18 times. What am I supposed to do now? Orion, there's like 1,000 other shows you can watch. I don't want to watch those shows. I want to watch this show. It can seem like a tantrum. It can seem a joke to some people. But trust me, with regards to sudden changes to things, there are not many more impossibilities in the mind of an autistic person than how I will get through this sudden change. Now, sudden's a big word. It's an important word, and I hope you picked up on it. I didn't just say change, did I? See, change is possible. You can navigate change. And I think the key is probably what I've classed as a bad version of it, sudden. So change is possible with ample notice, ample conversations, preparation, time. It's a bit like weaning someone on or off something. Yeah, that's different to sudden changes. This stuff, honestly, can be debilitating for autistic people. And for those that have autistic kids, you need to understand this and accept this and work out, okay, food's changing, shows are changing, clothing's changing, school's changing, this kind of stuff. Great. Okay, we need the information as quickly as possible to provide them with the most amount of processing time to get used to it, and therefore provide them with the opportunity to actually navigate it and still have a good quality of life, still remain regulated. Wait, you're saying you're not ready to get out of my autistic mind? Okay, for even more alien adventures into my autistic mind, check out the full Autism Feels series right now, if you dare.